عصف الأنين بداخلي كم مرة قد ذاق قلبي من أساه محن تمر وكم كرهت مصابها لكن رأيت الخير يسكب في أنا كم مرة قد ضقت من عظم الباب.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. ما بعد، السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Bismillah. Can't go wrong with starting off the video with some delicious mango. Walillah alhamd. Now, I've got this amazing journey gifted to me by my brothers at Ummah Outfits. Now, this is called the Bay Collection, and this is in honor of Ertugrul Bay. I'm sure everyone has watched the Ertugrul series on Netflix, and now we're watching the Osman series. And it's got number 13 written at the back, representing Ertugrul, who came in the 13th century Gregorian. And whoever's interested, I'll put the link in the description. Ummah Outfits, you could find them on Instagram. Beautiful material. So please, support the business and purchase. They got different collections, so go and support our Muslim businesses. And subhanAllah, I'll be honest with you, it's very, very comfortable as well. Walillah alhamdu wa minna. Now, I have been given information regarding a certain celebrity speaker. Islamic credentials, hardly any, but very popular. And the algorithms obviously favor her videos. And this particular individual, her name is Yasmin Mogahed, if I pronounce that right. And her sister's also in the dawah scene. And it opened up a healthy discussion on Twitter regarding the situation of money for da'wah. And I spoke about this in the past, right? But this video is more of a clarification. And it's going to be concise, hard-hitting, and ultimately some home truths will be spoken. Now, I have noticed a pattern and a trend, especially in the last 3-4 years, that the capitalization and the monetization of this da'wah, and when I mean da'wah, I mean calling to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not restricted to calling non-Muslims to Islam, meaning the da'wah, calling to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the reason why I say we have reached boiling point is that many brothers and sisters are coming forward and providing me information of their interactions with these celebrity speakers, male and female, in fact. Okay, so it's not, restricted to the females, because I'm finding many feminists, especially the Muslim feminists, coming out and say, oh, well, it's convenient that you highlighted a female da'iyah. And look, it's abusing their power and banking off their platform with tens of thousands of pounds, if not hundreds of thousands of pounds. Now, before I go into the crux of the video, I want to present a few athar and some narrations from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, highlighting the dangers of those who seek wealth and using the deen of Islam as a vehicle to enjoy the luxuries of this world. Now, as you can see on screen, we've got an athar from Bishr bin Harith. Bishr bin Harith is one of the imams of the Salaf. And he mentioned that the one that consumes or takes from this world through the knowledge that they've gained and the deen is like someone who washes their hands of, filth or whatnot with the water that is used to clean fish. Or like the one who tries to put out a fire or extinguish a fire using like dry grass. You see? Using dry grass. So, coming back to me now. So, Bishr bin Harith, and I've done a video on this regarding fame and the dangers of fame, also the dangerous relationship between money and da'wah. But what Bishr bin Harith is highlighting here is that any person, or the example of the one that eats from the dunya using ilm, using ilm, what deen, and the religion. And I'm finding the popular speakers, whether they sit at the top of the food chain or the top of the hierarchy, all the way to ones that are sitting probably just below, and it carries on down, that they are unfortunately following the capitalistic framework, guising Islamic da'wah by trying to bank as much money as possible and using the deen or their knowledge in the process. So we have to be very, very careful. Now what I'm going to do is present a narration. As you can see on screen, we've got Sunan al-Tirmidhi. And you can see on screen, we've got Sunan al-Tirmidhi by Imam al-Tirmidhi, rahmatullah alayh. And this is narrated by Ka'b ibn Malik. And he states that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, ما ذئبان جائعان أرسل في غنم بأفسد لها من حرص المرء على المال والشرف لدينه. That two hungry wolves going freely or roaming freely amongst a flock of sheep, غنم or في غنم, is less dangerous or destructive to them than a man who has passion for wealth and high status, sharaf, for his religion, for his deen. So we need to be careful of riyah and make sure that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala removes any impurities from our heart, and anything we do is for the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and for his sake only. So come back to me now. Bismillah. I need to finish off my mango. Hits the spot. Recently, I shared a document from Yasmin Moghahed, who was invited by an organization to deliver a speech or a talk. And they were corresponding, and eventually they sent their requirements for Yasmin Moghahed to deliver this speech or talk. And I don't want to share it on air, but to break it down, she requested $5,000, as they call it, honorariums, flight to be paid for her and her husband. Now, why can't her husband pay for his own flight? Anyway, that's a different story. Transportation, which is not unreasonable. Food, which is not unreasonable, and whatnot. But now, I've been told, right, that this is like the bare minimum, because potentially it was domestic. It was in the States. So, again, it has to be verified, and I'm sure someone will reach out to me soon once this video is released, that she charges upwards to $15,000. Okay, and it could be more. Now, I saw, and I'm sure many of you saw it as well, her and her sister during Ramadan appealing for charities. Now, I know, right, that charities are paying these celebrity speakers a percentage, whether it's from the gift aid or not, but they've made this a norm, right, to request more money. It's charities are businesses, aren't they? So they're going to use whatever marketing techniques or use whoever they can in order to amass more money, because more money for them means more luxuries, more comfort, more money. And her sister as well, Dahlia, was the same. I've got information that, and again, brothers have given me this information, I want to remain anonymous, that these channels as well, because generally it's the whole issue with the monetization of the deen, whether it be the charity sector, whether it be mosque committees, whether it be Islamic channels, and this is the point I'm raising, is that Islamic channels are charging extortionate amounts for charities to appeal on their channels. I've heard up to between 50 to 100,000 pounds. Seriously. And this is a major, major problem. Look, when we use the deen of Islam by utilizing terminologies and phrases like da'wah or sadaqah or zakat or whatever it may be, you know, helping the oppressed, the madhlumin, or the aitam, you know, again, it's a commodity, it's a product, isn't it? These things are products. So if they promote this, and then naturally it'll bring in the dosh, it'll bring in the money, or the dollars, or the Benjamins, whatever you want to call it. Now, subhanAllah, us calling this out, and this is the clarification of the video, right? us calling this out, it's important, it's necessary. It's absolutely necessary. I find that the Muslim celebrity speakers are no different to the Christian evangelicals like the Benny Hinns and the Creflo Dollars. They have one common denominator, which is that they bank off the religion. They bank off it. They're making an absolute fortune from it. And subhanAllah al-Azim, I am confident and certain that we will slowly but surely create change. We will create change. And the amount of brothers and sisters, organizations reaching out to me to highlight the hypocritical nature of these celebrity speakers, it's mind-blowing. Like, ask yourself, how was I able to get a document highlighting Yes Me MAGA heads requirements? How? Because they're frustrated. This mafia, this Dawa mafia, thinks they can use religion and sit back and make a fortune, and we're going to sit silent? No. The same person speaks about, and I've got it here, men need respect in relationship, love and marriage, all of these shorts, compatibility in Islamic marriage. Well, guess what? How are you, and again, this might sound too direct, but I'll call it out as it is. I'm sorry. You know, this fake religiosity I don't have. I say it as it is. Whatever's in here comes out, whether you like it or not. I'm sorry. You can't be speaking about marriage when you've been divorced 3 or 4 times. I'm sorry. How can you talk about successful marriages and how to make a marriage work and love and compatibility or whatever it may be, and you've been divorced 3 or 4 times? I'm sorry. Okay, you can argue, okay, well, it was his fault, but I'm sorry. You can't be putting yourself forward and talking about stuff like this, you know, and you've had 3 failed marriages, if not 4. Again, how do I know this? I'm sorry, you're not that popular. People can see through your hypocrisy. Anyway, let's go into this. That's just a side note. We've got Al-Adab al-Shar'iyya by Ibn Muflih. So as you can see on screen, Qadi Abu Ya'la mentions in the book Al-Mu'tamad, وَيَجِبُ إِنْكَارُ الْمُنْكَرُ وَإِنْ لَمْ يَغْلِبْ فِي ذَنِّهِ زَوَالُهُ فِي إِحْدَى الرِّوَايَتَيْنِ. That in one of the 2 riwayas, right, that Imam Qadi Abu Ya'la states that it is imperative to reject the munkar, even though he knows within himself that it won't be accepted from him. And he presents a athar that's transmitted by Abu Harith, that a man asked that if he sees a munkar and he knows that the person won't accept it from him, meaning that he will be silent, he won't accept it, right? So the response was that if you see the munkar, you should try to change it in your whatever is in your capability. And then he ends up by saying, Imam Nawawi clarify this from the ulama by using the verse of Surah Al-Ma'idah, which states that it's only upon the messenger to convey. And then he presents a riwayah that it's not imperative, حَتَّى يَعْلَمَ زَوَالَهُ, until you know you'll be able to remove it. So there's a valid difference of opinion in this, and he presents a riwayah from Ahmed. Sorry, this is all about Imam Ahmed. It's from the Hanbali madhab, Ibn Muflih in Adab al-Shar'iyya. We got another author here that he mentions, قال أبو داود سمعت أحمد سئل عن رجل له جار يعمل بالمنكر لا يقوى ينكر عليه وضعيف يعمل بالمنكر أيضا يقوى ينكر عليه قال نعم ينكر عليه. That Abu Dawud rahmatullah alayhi heard Ahmed being asked about a neighbor, right, or about a man who has a neighbor who perpetrates some evil acts, and he's unable to reject it from him. But then he also has a neighbor that is da'if, he isn't that strong, and he commits an evil, and he's able to do inkar of him. And then Imam Ahmed rahmatullah said, Naam, yunkiru alayh. Yeah, you reject it from him, or you denounce it. Now we've got a section here, a fasal, about the ranks of who can do the inkar. And it mentions, وَهُوَ فَرْضُ الْكِفَايَةِ, that this is like a communal obligation, right? عَلَى مَنْ لَمْ يُعَنْ, on those who have not been given the obligation to do it, meaning appointed in fact. وَسِوَاءٌ فِي ذَلِكَ الْإِمَامِ وَالْحَاكِمِ وَالْعَالِمِ وَالْجَاهِلِ وَالْعَادِلِ وَالْفَاسِقِ. That this also applies to the imam, meaning to do the inkar, or the ruler, or the scholar, or the ignorant, or the just, or the immoral. But it mentions, وَقَالَ قَوْمٌ لَا يُجُوزُ لِفَاسِقٍ الْإِنْكَارُ, that the fasiq has no right to do the inkar. So if you're a fasiq, you've got no right, right? some say no, the fasik can also do inkar. So he probably does fisq in certain aspects, but then he also can denounce something that he doesn't do. And the others have said that it's not permissible, right, to do inkar unless you've been given permission by the Wali al-Amr one. So you see, any munkar that you are aware of and you have knowledge of, and it's clear that there is foul play, because this industry now, because it is an industry, the dawah industry is toxic and it has abuse. Again, I've dealt with the charity sector for a while now, and I've highlighted concerns regarding the charity sector of, abuse of wealth, abuse of trust, and various other issues that I've experienced. But I just want to highlight something just to show you. And again, look, I've been told that certain speakers are charging 25,000 per session. And there was an article on Islam 21C that talked about the dangerous relationship between money and da'wah. Anyway, so this individual has done a tour around the UK, full tour, right? Now again, was he paid for this? Again, if you want to give a hadiyah, because sometimes they mask honorariums with hadiyah, and Allah knows what's inside the hearts. Let's just say that. Anyway, if you're demanding it, etc., then obviously Allah will call you to account. I assure you. I promise you that. So as I was saying, so this individual is doing a tour around the UK. No problem. He can come back up. He could come back 500 times. No issue with that. The problem here is this becoming a lucrative business way? They're going back to their home country, coming back to the UK, coming back. Are they being paid? I honestly believe that this has become a lucrative business for sheikhs or du'at or ustadas or sheikha. It's become a lucrative business. This individual's just done a tour of the UK, he's gone back and he's coming back again. Now again, I'm asking the question. I'm not accusing him of taking any money. And if people want to pay him, that's up to them. But the issue here is this becoming way too comfortable. And this is the point. He's come to the UK, he's done a tour, he's gone back, and he's coming back again a month later. So is there some monetary benefit for him? And we've got the right to ask, how much are you getting paid? How much are you getting paid? Because we don't want to fall down the trap or fall down into the lizard's hole, you see? Because we know how these Christian evangelicals are using their religion to profit millions, even having private jets. And I see these celebrity speakers following that pattern. Okay? So that's my clarification, really. And as I said before, I don't care whether you like it, I don't care whether you hate it. No one's paying my way. I'm not profiting off the da'wah. And as I said before, flights, accommodation is reasonable. It's reasonable. No problem. But when you're demanding, this is how much I want. You have to remember, in the 90s and the 2000s, brothers and sisters were actually paying money towards the da'wah. Right? Actually paying money so that the da'wah can spread. Okay, I'm going to do a video on the da'wah scene as well, about the verses they use and bringing it into context. Because they're hijacking da'wah now in order to make money, you see. So people are actually forking out from their own pockets. Now it's as if that these celebrity speakers are entitled to tens of thousands of pounds per event, speak for an hour and a half. Qaris coming from Egypt, requesting this man and that man. We've fallen into that trap. So, brothers and sisters, do not feel you don't have a right to ask. Like, okay, how much are you paying him? Like, if they say none of your business, well, there's a problem with that, because you're calling these speakers and you're paying them large amounts of money, which is extortionate. We need to know how much it is. And we need to be brave enough to ask those questions. And trust me, there's much more information I've got. And as I said before, you're going to always have an excuse. You're going to find an excuse, in fact. Oh yeah, but we're full-time du'at, we should be paid. We've got imams in masajids, right, who are paid next to nothing. We're talking about the UK. I know the US is slightly different. Imams that are paid minimum wage, or if not under minimum wage, which is legal. And these so-called celebrity speakers, like Magahead, what ilm does she have, in fact? Yeah, she studied psychology. Yeah, you're a motivational speaker. Even the one that's from Zimbabwe, he's a motivational speaker, right? Even though the one from across the pond, and again, I don't want to mention his name, an opportunist, And as I said, I've got, when push came to shove, he didn't mind sitting next to doing joint prayers with war criminals. That just shows no backbone. But anyway, leave that to one side. I think I've made my case, and it's important that brothers and sisters now should find their voices and don't fear the blame of the blamers. It's a mafia. What's the worst that can happen? They can cancel you. So what? So what? They ban people from the masajids anyway. Like, it just shows they're on a power trip. But let me tell you something. I don't fear no one but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? No one but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So take care of yourselves. Wassalamu ala nabiyyina Muhammad.
ليس الغريب غريب الشام واليمن إن الغريب غريب اللحد والكفن إن الغريب له حق لغربته على المقيمين في الأوطان والسكن سفر بعيد وزاد لن يبلغني وقوتي ضعفت والموت يطلبني ما أحلم الله عني حيث أمهلني وقد تماديت في ذنبي ويسترني تمر ساعة